10:30.
The NFL Today, brought to you by Black & Decker. Black & Decker power tools for less than you'd expect. And by Jockey Underwear, what the well-dressed man is wearing this year. And by Brunswick Corporation, inside or out, from boating to bowling, everything for your sporting life.
Hello, Jack Whitaker with Pat Summerall and CBS Control. And Pat, we've got a new quarterback in the league, and his name is Van.
Right, Jack, but it's not Norm Van Brocklin. It's Tim Van Gelder, 28-year-old rookie for the St. Louis Cardinals. And all Tim Van Gelder did for openers last week was guide the Cardinals to a 10-3 upset of the Baltimore Colts.
Which means that the rookie was the winner in a duel with the master, Johnny Unitas. Here he is, Tim Van Gelder, 6'1", 190 pounds, out of Iowa State. In the Army 2 years, on the Cardinal taxi squad for 3 years. On his first play in the NFL, he threw the bomb, and the ball was right on the money. Shame on you, tight end Jackie Smith. The rookie might have had a touchdown pass in his very first play. But the rookie learned what it's like to be sacked, too. He tripped here before Colt defensive end Roy Hilton welcomed him to the NFL. But this is the pass that Tim Van Gelder will never forget. Another bomb to Jackie Smith, and this time the very good tight end holds on to it for a 71-yard gain that set up the winning touchdown. At the start of the Cardinals training camp, Tim Van Gelder was their number 4 quarterback, behind Gary Quazzo, Jim Hart, and Pete Beathard.
But Beathard was traded to the Rams, and Van Gelder moved the Cardinals better than Quazzo or Hart did. So now he's number 1, an instant celebrity in St. Louis.
Last week he captured Baltimore, Pat, and today he'll be trying to capture Washington. We'll return with a preview of today's games as the NFL Today continues.
Not everyone is cut out for a career of helping people.
Hello, son. What's the problem?
My chain slipped off.
Mind if I give you a hand?
That's why State Farm looks for men who already want to serve. Men who've done some coaching or teaching, for example. Men equipped by temperament to help when there's an accident, a fire, sickness, or death in the family.
Welcome. Have a nice day.
But before he got to be a State Farm agent, he went through a tough selection process. Hours of study, tests, interviews, examinations. Only 1 man out of 11 makes it. Serving people as a State Farm agent isn't easy. That's why we make it so tough to become one.
Hello. Oh, hi, Frank. Yeah, still here.
Just like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
At Foxborough, Massachusetts, the Falcons and the Patriots in their first regular season interconference meeting. For the Falcons, another victory today would send them flying into their early season NFC Western Division showdown with the Rams next Sunday in Atlanta. In beating the Bears last week, Falcon quarterback Bob Berry didn't pass often. But of his 9 attempts, he completed 6 for 151 yards. On this pass, running back Art Malone turned it into a 57-yard touchdown. Art Malone also ran for 77 yards last week. Now in his 3rd season, Art Malone has the look of a player about to explode for his first really big year. Bob Berry again is looking over the middle, this time for wide receiver Ken Burrow. Only in his 2nd season, Ken Burrow is one of the many young players expected to keep the Falcons in their divisional race this season. One of the new Falcons is running back Dave Hampton, obtained from the Green Bay Packers before the season began. Here he is getting away from number 44, their safety man Gary Lyle. Even ex-Packers always do their best in games against the Bears. On the sideline, that is Falcon defensive end Claude Humphrey, limping on a sore right ankle. But he didn't stay there for long. Notice the ace bandage outside his uniform stocking on his right ankle. This play, he rides off a block by number 35, Bear running back Jim Harrison. Then he gets flattened by number 24, running back Don Shy. Shy has probably been waiting for years to catch Humphrey on one leg. But even...
The NFL today continues.
Is my blueberry sling ready?
So are your rally bag and shoes.
It's my New Brunswick sling.
With the Crown Score tracer.
Sling, I love you. Oh, Sling. Come back, you little average razor. You don't have to be a pro to bowl like one.
A fling by Brunswick for pretty pros like yourself.
The Horse Auction, an American institution. A perfect chance to toast your judgment with the premium beer of the day, Pabst Blue Ribbon. Its prize flavor was liked by all, just as it is today.
$15 time bid, $30 time off, $43 time bid. Going for the first. Sold.
Pabst Blue Ribbon is America's only beer with good old-time flavor. Brewed by the first of the great Milwaukee brewers.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jim Morris, and this is the scene at Soldier Field, Chicago, where in just a few moments the Chicago Bears will be taking on the Los Angeles Rams. The Chicago Bears have lost 6 straight, if you talk about the 5 at the tail end of last season. They lost 8 straight not too many years ago, and that's their record. I don't think they'll match that, however, and there's a lot of reasons for it. If you go back just a few years, the Bears were subject to quite a bit of criticism. It was said that Papa Bear should retire. Then, of course, after he did retire, it was said that he kept control of his football team through the coaches. Then you have that perennial complaint with the Chicago Bears that they're a little tight-fisted in the money department. However, if you talk to the Bear organization, they'll tell you that out of the 26 teams in the National Football League, that they rank 3rd in total payroll. I bring all of this up now because the attitude here in Chicago has changed considerably with the hiring of Abe Gibron as the head coach. Abe has a tremendous following here in Chicago, both among the press and the fans. It's said that he's been allowed to hire all of his own assistants and that he has complete control of his players on the football field in the decision-making process. The attitude has changed, the morale is better, and the atmosphere is 100% better here in Chicago. The only dark cloud, of course, recently, George Seals has left to join the Kansas City Chiefs, and Dick Gordon is no longer a Chicago Bear. Moving over to the Rams now for just a moment, a refreshing story out of Ramland. A young man by the name of Bobby Thomas, who last week ran for 144 yards, and he leads the National Football Conference in rushing. No hang-ups, no problems with this young man, but 5 years ago, he was almost killed in a hold-up attempt at his father's service station. But we'll see Bobby today. It's a refreshing story. He's delighted to be playing with the Los Angeles Rams. And Jack and Pat will be back with more on today's games as the NFL Today continues.
One reason why you may want to consider mutual funds today, tomorrow. The Oppenheimer Fund is a mutual fund in which the management takes what it considers prudent risks in an effort to make your money grow. Oppenheimer Management Corporation, distributors and managers of the Oppenheimer Group of mutual funds, with different objectives for different investors.
A land leveler's got to be tough. His equipment's got to be tough, too. Merle Stevens uses AC oil filters. ACs are built tough, tested tough, to stand up to high oil temperatures and pressures. And that toughness is built into the AC oil filters that go into your car. Next time, get the tough one, an AC oil filter. Original equipment on GM cars.
AC keeps you going when the going's tough.
Allen demands. One of Allen's coaching commandments is, thou must make 5 big plays a game. Here's one of those big plays. Bill Malinchek racing in from the upper right portion of your screen to block Mike Eiched's punt and to run the ball in for a touchdown. Viking quarterback Fran Tarkenton had his problems with the Redskin defense. Number 79 is defensive end Ron McDowell, stacking up Clint Jones for a loss. On offense, Redskin running back Larry Brown will test the Cardinal defense. He ran for 105 yards against the Vikings. On this touchdown run, watch Larry Brown cut behind blocks by number 31 running back Charlie Haraway and number 42 wide receiver Charlie Taylor. This tape courtesy of ABC. And here's Charlie Haraway again, this time as a runner, scoring on a sweep against the other side of the Viking defense. The man with the biggest grin is George Allen. And with the Redskins in their RFK Stadium opener today, most of the politicians in our nation's capital will forget for a few hours that this is a presidential election year. On Sunday afternoons in Washington now, the only thing that matters is that this might be the Redskins' year.
At Chicago, the Rams and the Bears. The Rams need a victory to be assured of keeping in step with the San Francisco 49ers and the Atlanta Falcons in the NFC Western Division dogfight. And the Rams have a new name to remember. Bob Thomas, a second-year running back from Arizona State. Number 35 is Bob Thomas. And this 38-yard touchdown run against the Saints last week was part of his 144-yard day. And that's just for openers. Ram quarterback Roman Gabriel obviously has recovered from his collapsed lung. This pass to wide receiver Jack Snow produced a 31-yard touchdown. On defense, watch Ram tackle Merlin Olsen, barrel through to sack Saints quarterback Archie Manning. Merlin looks like an Olympic hammer thrower. That Ram pass rush sometimes can influence an interception. On this pass by Archie Manning, look for number 19, cornerback Jimmy Nettles, to make the interception. Once he got the ball, Jimmy Nettles is one of the best in the NFL at running it back. But getting back to Bob Thomas, Jack, the amazing thing is that he was drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals a year ago. The Bengals cut him after a springtime rookie workout.
And the way I understand it, Pat, his Arizona State coach, Frank Kush, told the Rams that the Bengals must have been hasty in their judgment.
Paul Brown might regret it. The Rams play the Bengals 4 weeks from today in L.A.
But today, Pat, the Rams play the Bears, and they must try to do what the Atlanta Falcons couldn't do last week, and that's to stop Jim Harrison. Number 35, Jim Harrison, played only 2 games as a rookie last year, carrying the ball 5 times for only 13 yards. But a week ago, the 235-pound running back from Missouri galloped for 113 yards. He's the first Bear runner to go over 100 yards in a game since the now retired Gale Sayers did it 4 times in 1969. And speaking of Gale Sayers, he's joined CBS as a TV analyst on NFL games and will make his debut when the Bears play the Packers in Green Bay in 2 weeks. You don't roster, Gale.
Everyone thinks of me as a bookworm, but I have another side, the inside. I'm clad in a Grape Fizz T-shirt and French blue hip briefs. I have jockey underwear in almost every style and color. I may look like Wally Cox, but inside, I'm Tyrone Power.
Jockey brand fashion underwear, what the well-undressed man is wearing this year.
The ball, Brunswick's custom LTD, the finest bowling ball in the world. The bowler, Pro Dave Sutar, 3-time All-American. Put him together. The ball, Brunswick's custom LTD, custom top weights to help raise your score. The bowler, Joe Lindstrom, just a guy who loves bowling. Put him together.
Even if you're not a pro, bowl with the best. Brunswick's custom LTD. Hey, that's my ball too.
Shouldn't it be yours?
Mankato, Minnesota, for years home of the Minnesota Vikings summer camp, where this quiet town is revived each July and August. This summer was a particularly special one in Mankato, and even the heavens seemed to sense it. The summer of '72, the return to Minnesota of Francis Asbury Talkington.
It is the team that I most want to play on. This is where my heart is. My closest friends in football have been always right here. Coming back now, I see a team that was growing then, and I want desperately bad to just contribute something to this football team in a positive way. Fran Tarkenton brings experience. He's been a regular quarterback in this league as long as he's been here. And experience is probably the main ingredient that he possesses today.
The Fran Tarkenton experience started in the frozen Minnesota Northland 12 years ago. Under the heavy hand of Coach Norm Van Brocklin, and with an expansion team of little experience or talent, Tarkenton labored under enormous internal pressure to succeed, and an even greater pressure from his opponents. Through 6 wild and unpredictable seasons, Tarkenton did more than any other man to popularize pro football in Minnesota, often seeming more like a Hollywood actor testing for the lead in The Great Escape. Tarkenton had left an indelible mark on Minnesota, but was deemed a loser. The Big Apple had big plans for Fran. But both his New York coaches, Allie Sherman and Alex Webster, were rebuilding, and neither surrounded number 10 with strong support. With a weak defense, Tarkenton once again was practically all his team had going for it. Personally, though, they were good years for Tarkenton. His pure passing ability seemed to improve in New York to the point where he now ranks 5th on the all-time passing charts. Though Tarkenton won the hearts of Fun City fans, New York kept losing, and number 10 spent too much time heading for the nearest exit. With 11 frustrating years behind him, Fran was reprieved at the end of the '71 season. He now opens the door to a new career with an old team and a new coach.
I think Bud has his own ideas. They've been tried and tested, and they've worked. He believes in the importance of every individual on the team, every person in the organization. He doesn't try to lay blame on a defeat just on one person and overpressure any one person, because he doesn't want any one person to think he's more important to that football team than somebody else is. And that's the attitude of this football team. It's built a good winning attitude, and it's a happy feeling for me, and a very good feeling for me to be a part of something that has a legitimate chance to win everything there is to win. And I've never been on a team in my 11 years that I could say that about honestly when the season started.
There's always a crowd for the Vikings summer camp in Mankato, if only to watch the team in an intra-squad scrimmage. What they saw was a subdued Fran Tarkenton, oiling his gears for the season ahead, giving only a glimpse of what they had seen in the past, or what they might expect to see in the near future. For Fran Tarkenton has been wheeling, dealing, and dazzling the world of pro football for 11 years. And even though he may not have to dig as deeply into his bag of magic this time around, chances are he will. One thing is clear. A smile on Coach Bud Grant's face should be more than an infrequent occurrence this season. For Fran Tarkenton has returned home for his latest chance, perhaps his last chance, and most certainly his best chance to achieve the only thing that really matters to him now, to be a part of
CBS Television Sports presents the National Football League. Brought to you by Goodyear, only maker of double-belted poly-steel tires. And by your Union 76 dealers. The spirit of 76 lives at Union Oil. And by Wilkinson, makers of the bonded shaving system. It makes shaving easy. And by Ford and your Ford dealers. See all the better ideas for 73 at your Ford dealers.